Tanseyam Krisanachkate, welcome to APTN National News Daytime. 4 people have been arrested and 2 other suspects have yet to be located following a forcible confinement investigation in the Opaskwayak Cree Nation in northern Manitoba. According to the Manitoba First Nations Police Service, last Friday on February 27th at around 6 p.m., police were advised about a suspicious person in a residential neighborhood near the local mall in Opaskwayak Cree Nation. Police found an adult who was seriously assaulted and held against his will for several hours at a nearby home. Police surrounded the home and 4 adults were later taken into custody. They include 22-year-old Delaney Ballantyne, 24-year-old Maximus Ballantyne, and 40-year-old Corey Tyler Harris, all from Opaskwayak, and 23-year-old Hanson Dorian from the Paw. All 4 are facing a number of assault and forcible confinement charges. Police say they are still looking for 29-year-old Chantel Easter from Moose Lake and 38-year-old Byron McGilvery from Opaskwayak Cree Nation. If anyone knows where Easter and McGilvery are, do not approach them. Instead, call RCMP or the Manitoba First Nations Police Service. 2 people have been arrested and another man is still on the run after a man was killed in the town of the Paw, Manitoba, over the weekend. Last Friday on February 27th, RCMP were called to a home in the Paw for a report of an assault. When they arrived, they found a 33-year-old man from Opaskwayak Cree Nation suffering from life-threatening injuries. He was rushed to hospital where he later died. A 22-year-old man from Saskatoon and a 32-year-old man from Thompson were both arrested and charged with second-degree murder. RCMP say they are still looking for 30-year-old Draven Lester Mercurdy from the Paw. RCMP say Mercurdy has ties to Moose Lake and Thompson, and if anyone sees Mercurdy, you're asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers immediately. Hundreds of homes are still in need of repair as the crisis in Opaskwayak Cree Nation continues. It's now been roughly 2 months since the Manitoba hydro outage initially left the community in darkness. Now, despite power being restored, many people from Cross Lake are still out of their homes. CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports.
I had to leave my home, my job, my family.
Shelley Poppanicus's life has been disrupted since January 3rd. That's when she had to evacuate her Opaskwayak home. It's been nearly 2 months away from her community, and it's taking a toll on her mental health.
This is my 3rd evacuation. The first time was in the summer when the smoke, engulfed our community.
Everybody wants to go home. It's been a long journey here. It's very, very hard.
Jackson Osborne has been out of his home since January 14th. Osborne and Poppanicus are just 2 of more than 2,000 evacuees waiting to return, and it still could be weeks before they can go home. Workers had to tear apart Poppanicus's kitchen and bathroom to fight water damage and mold from the December 30th Manitoba hydro outage.
The state of emergency has now turned into a health and safety issue, and whether those people can come home or not is remains outstanding.
Chief David Monius wants Manitoba Hydro and the province to help fund the mold remediation and emergency repairs needed for roughly 900 homes. Asbestos has also been found, and the chief says 237 homes have been classified as uninhabitable.
I think to really come to the table and say, listen, we understand that you guys are in this situation as a result of the infrastructure failure of the Manitoba Hydro lines, and we are willing to take responsibility.
On Friday, Premier Canoe was non-committal when asked if the province would be sending any additional funding to help the ongoing crisis.
We're one province, we all want to work together, and we were there through the, most challenging part of the emergency, but still want to see people get help to be able to go home.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A security guard caught on camera brutalizing a man at a Winnipeg Dollarama has now been charged. Winnipeg Police Service released an update this morning about the incident that took place over the weekend. Police say that a 46-year-old man was arrested after attempting to leave with stolen merchandise. The man then allegedly threatened to kill and assault an Impact security guard. That led to the guard assaulting the 46-year-old with what appeared to be brass knuckles, stomping on the man, as well as threatening to kill him. Police say when they arrested the 46-year-old, he had concealed items of approximately $95 of items on him. They also say that they were not aware of the guard's involvement until a video on social media launched an investigation into the guard's actions. WPS says the security guard is now facing charges of assault with a weapon, unauthorized possession of a prohibited or restricted weapon, and uttering threats to cause death or bodily harm. Both have been released on an undertaking to appear in court at a later date. The incident led to a protest on Monday outside of the Dollarama, which has been closed in anticipation of the action. We now want to tell you about this week's new web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, do you think confrontations in retail stores are increasing? You can answer yes or no. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca to have your say. The question will be on the right-hand side of the homepage. Saskatchewan RCMP are asking for the public's help following a recent death in Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Investigators originally deemed the death suspicious, but have since ruled it a homicide. On Sunday, March 1st at around 2:30 a.m., Montreal Lake RCMP responded to a report of an injured person at a home on Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Officers attended to a 31-year-old Tanya Roberts. EMS were also called to the scene but later declared the woman deceased. The Saskatchewan Coroner Service has ruled the cause to be a homicide with no arrests made at this time. RCMP say the investigation is ongoing and they are asking anyone with information about Roberts' death to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. People in southern Saskatchewan are in mourning after a retired Regina Police Service member and a well-respected Indigenous elder, James Pratt, has passed away. CTV's Mick Favel now on how those who knew him are remembering him.
Originally from Muscatpeting First Nation, James Pratt, or Jim as many knew him by, grew up in a household valuing hard work, strong faith, and treating people well. These values were the foundation of a successful career in law enforcement. Pratt started at the Regina Police Service in 1983. He would become one of the first members of the Cultural Advisory Unit, a team created to develop and maintain communication between RPS and diverse Regina communities.
He was really one of the first members in that area that really stood up that unit, and I would just say showed the value of how having a cultural and community diversity unit could benefit the police service and the community. And so his work in that role was literally groundbreaking.
The disappearance of Tamara Keepness would be one of the biggest cases he would be involved in, a time when he would help bridge the police service and Indigenous communities in the search for the missing 5-year-old Regina girl.
We couldn't even put into words his value in regards to that investigation. At that time of her disappearance was obviously very troubling for everyone, and having Jim as a member of RPS certainly helped, I would say, ensure that those bridges were in place.
Pratt would spend 25 years with RPS, retiring as the first Indigenous person ever to complete a career in the force. But his retirement would not last long. He stepped into the classroom at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, facilitating in the Justice Studies program for 17 years. In his later years, he would serve as an elder in a number of capacities, including at RPS and Ombudsman Saskatchewan.
He was always looking to talk to people, young people, encouraging them to go into whatever career path and to work their hardest and to do their best to serve the public and to help as many people as they could. And I think that's the legacy and the life that he leaves behind.
Pratt is currently being remembered on social media by many who will remember his humor and his down-to-earth approach to building a stronger community through his culture and his public service. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
From all of us at APTN National News, we send our sincerest condolences to the Pratt family. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how to continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. And to read and watch our stories, you can go to www.aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X, hopefully Facebook one day. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. When we come back, we'll update you on the court case in Ontario involving alleged art fraudsters who oversaw fake works of art from Norval Morrisseau. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A sentencing hearing for a Niagara man convicted of fraud for selling fake works attributed to the late Indigenous artist Norval Morrisseau took an unexpected turn recently. Two men connected to Morrisseau's estate withdrew their contentious victim impact statements. CTV's Mike Arcelides tells us why.
What was supposed to be the continuation of Jeff Cowan's sentencing hearing turned confrontational when a lawyer representing Norval Morrisseau's estate unexpectedly appeared in court. The lawyer Jason Grattel also claimed to represent Gabe Vatis and Corey Dingle, two individuals who abruptly decided they wouldn't be providing victim impact statements. Cowan's lawyer Nathan Gorham told the court he received an email from the BC lawyer, with Grattel threatening civil action if Gorham defames his clients during Cowan's sentencing hearing. Gorham characterized an email from Grattel as harassing and abusive behavior that threatened potential civil litigation on the basis of defamation on behalf of the Morrisseau estate, Vatis, and Dingle, who have publicly represented Morrisseau interests for years. Grattel, the court heard, is concerned with hypothetical arguments Gorham might make about both Vatis and Dingle and their alleged involvement in an art fraud ring that led to convictions of Cowan and his co-accused Jim White and David Paul Bremner, who both took plea deals and testified against Cowan in trial. Gorham said the defense provided to the court an affidavit from Morrisseau expert John Zamanovich, whose investigation into forgeries of Morrisseau paintings found that Dingle and Vatis knew about the existence of fake Morrisseau works and that members of Morrisseau's family may have been directly involved in creating and or selling forgeries while passing them off as real Morrisseau works by authenticating them, in some cases, and profiting directly or indirectly from their existence in the market, which grew following Morrisseau's death in 2007. Cowan, who represented himself and was convicted in November by a jury of 4 fraud charges for selling mimicked works of the late Indigenous artist, has hired Gorham for the sentencing proceedings. Gorham told the court he plans to call Cowan to the witness stand to testify, something Cowan did not do at trial. The Crown argued Cowan was the source of hundreds of mimicked Norval Morrisseau works that sold for thousands of dollars. Grattel was given 7 days by Justice Laura Bird to provide a response to the court following his interruption of the proceedings. The defense suggested Cowan's charter rights may have now been infringed upon. Cowan's sentencing hearing is scheduled to continue in April when he is expected to testify. Mike Arcelides, CTV News, Barrie.
It's a historic first for the Canadian Armed Forces as troops test the limits of equipment and personnel in one of the most remote regions on Earth. And as our APTN reporter Charlotte Mort-Jacobs explains, it's only the beginning of an expanding interest and support for Arctic sovereignty.
For the first time ever, the M777 howitzer is crossing the 60th parallel. It's going to be used to test the Canadian Armed Forces' land preparedness and capability to detect, deter, and defend in the Arctic.
Overall goal for this is essentially to test our equipment out in the field out here. Coming up north, it's a real stress test on all the equipment, especially the vehicles and the guns themselves, and especially the personnel.
Master Bombardier Jonathan Pache is one of 1,300 people taking part in Operation Nanook Nunalivut, with various missions across Yukon, NWT, and Nunavut.
There's a whole lot of logistical planning going into this, from the road move coming all the way up here from Edmonton, especially from Shiloh too. We had a lot of packets. We had the Air Force coming out here with their planes and their aircraft to be transporting our vehicles and our howitzers up to Cambridge Bay. So,
while the Arctic makes up 40% of Canada's landmass and 75% of our coastline, communities are sparsely located.
I think a big piece is...
So it's Major Stephanie Smith's job to ensure troops are self-sufficient in Cambridge Bay, Nunavut. Currently, they're surpassing local hospital resources, which lack surgical and ventilator support. But it's the reciprocity that impresses Nanook allies. How the team is securing clinical licenses for military staff and are able to support the local healthcare facility.
Even speaking with some of the elders as well, like learning their traditional medicine about how you approach a patient that's from the community to develop trust, collaboration, ensuring that they're what works best from their culture that sets them up to feel safe and trust with bringing in Western medicine options.
This building, the Canadian High Arctic Research Station, is home to the temporary strategic hub. Troops leverage the facility's advanced capabilities for northern surveillance and training. The station's lead scientist, David Hick, identifies the need for more multi-purpose infrastructure and hopes the visit strengthens partnerships to make that happen.
I think we could also make better use of those existing infrastructures. The North Warning sites, for example. We already have power and comms at those locations. There's things we could put in situ, within a couple months if using Canadian technology. Ocean Networks Canada, the cables, ROPOS, being able to put, just increase our domain awareness for a whole variety of reasons. We can work with you on that.
Brigadier General Danielle Riviere, commander of Joint Task Force North, says building Canada's defenses includes building infrastructure.
We could be asked to forward deploy people and vehicles and platforms and equipment, so you need that sustainment for endurance. And you can't deplete local resources, so that's one good reason is self-sufficiency. If you have a degree of self-sufficiency, you add so much flexibility in your ability to deploy anywhere across the North. Mindful that some areas are totally remote and with near to no infrastructure.
Joint Task Force North is receiving significant long-term funding, $2.67 billion to be exact, over 20 years, to establish and upgrade northern operational support hubs in Yellowknife, Inuvik, and Iqaluit. Op Nanook is also growing a persistent and expanding presence, including the longest patrol conducted by the Canadian Rangers ever, 4,500 kilometers by snowmobile from Yukon to Manitoba. For Lieutenant General Stephen Boivin, commander of the Canadian Joint Operations, it's exciting times as Canada and its allies are watching the North and its capabilities.
So why fire today the M777? This is a rehearsal. This is a demonstration for us of the Canadian Armed Forces capabilities as we look at detecting, deterring threats, and if required, defending the country.
Charlotte Mort-Jacobs, APTN National News, Cambridge Bay, Nunavut.
When we come back, we'll tell you what author Drew Hayden Taylor is working on next. Don't go away. Well, Island for staying with us. St. John's -6, Charlottetown partly cloudy and -3. Maine -18, Cartwright -13. -4 in Saguenay, Quebec City -3. Peterborough -2, Toronto +1. Sudbury -4, Wawa -1. Sun's out in God's Lake at -23, Thompson -26. -13 in Gimli, Dauphin -14. -2 in Swift Current, cloudy in Regina at -8. Buffalo Narrows -21, Stony Rapids -30. Grand Prairie -17, -23 in Fort McMurray. Cloudy in Red Deer at -7, Calgary +5. +8 in Victoria, Vancouver +9. -22 in Fort Nelson, +1 in Prince George and rain. -44 in Old Crow, -33 in Mayo. -38 in Wati, Norman Wells -40. -28 in Sax Harbor, -41 in Colville Lake. Whale Cove -31, Chesterfield clear skies and -34. And Arctic Bay -32, Iqaluit -23. You may have heard of Drew Hayden Taylor's new play that premiered on a Winnipeg stage recently. Tracy Niepanak is a well-known theater artist who also directed the play. APTN's Julia Ross reports.
And do you have a favorite line or favorite memory so far?
I can't say it on TV.
Tracy Niepenak is the director of Drew Hayden Taylor's new play, The Undeniable Accusations of Red Cadmium Light. Niepenak says the story follows an art expert that lives on reserve specializing in Norval-Morrisseau frauds, and when she is interviewed by a reporter from the big city, the interview uncovers things that directly affect her, her daughter, and the world as they know it.
I feel so blessed and so privileged to be able to crack this, you know, like the world premiere of Drew's play. I'm so happy to like be able to explore this with like the group that I have here.
Niepenak says that her mom met Norval-Morrisseau at a low period in his life, but that Morrisseau remained himself.
He was like so down to earth and so humble. And then these stories about like fake Morrisseaus, how you know, big time gallery owners and all manner of people like took advantage of like his art, his gift, and yet he could care less about the money. It was just something that he did.
She says she is excited for audience members to see the world of Morrisseau and Indigenous art.
He wanted the people that he knew that were close to him to benefit as well, because he had so much fame, and so like he just wanted to share his gift, and that turned into like, you know, people taking advantage of him. So yeah, I just want to see, like there's so many levels in this play, and that's just one of them, but how much relationships and family and what it takes to like keep that family bond.
Niepenak has acted in Drew Hayden Taylor shows before, and when reading the new script, she was so excited she couldn't say no to directing. The Undeniable Accusations of Red Cadmium Light runs at the Prairie Theatre Exchange in Winnipeg until March 8th. APTN spoke with Drew earlier this week. You can find his interview on our YouTube. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
It's Tuesday, and that means we have an all-new episode of APTN's Face-to-Face with Dennis Ward. This week, Lake Huron Regional Chief for the Anishinaabe Nation, Scott McLeod, is Dennis's next face-to-face guest. McLeod previously served 3 consecutive terms as Chief of Nipissing First Nation. Tonight, he reveals that negotiating the $10 billion Robinson-Huron Treaty annuities had an emotional toll and also cost him his job. Here's a preview.
When you know, you have a group of people that have been traumatized for the better part of 2 centuries, neglected, starved, forced into assimilation, forced into residential schools, oppressed from economic opportunities. If you really want to see the trauma that's a cause, then put $10 billion on the table, and the trauma will come out. And you know, it's a good thing. We had to go through it, and we deserved to see those financial rewards, but there was a cost.
And make sure to catch that all-new episode right after the evening news later today. And that's all the time we have for today's daytime newscast. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News Daytime, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Next time.